This is Talk the Home of Common Sense, and there is no common sense when it comes to treating of children who, for some reason, parents, doctors, and indeed the children themselves think are trans, because there are no such things as trans children or children born in the wrong body, but that's not what the ideologists seem to think. And it turns out that our Health Secretary, Wes Streeting, is one of those, because he has agreed and approved to a study, a medical experimentation on 200 children, some as young as 10 years old at primary school, with puberty blockers, even though we already know that they're unsafe. We know they're unsafe. There's been a big review into them by Hilary Cass. Even the Health Secretary himself has said he believed them to be unsafe. But we're going to do a little bit of guinea pig experimenting on children. Well, not if one man, and indeed many others who are trying to fight this, can get their way with a legal challenge to stop it. James Esses joins us. He's a psychotherapist and founder of Just Therapy. Good afternoon to you, James.
Good afternoon, Julia.
Thank you so much for joining us. I saw your tweets on this and I'm like, oh my God, this is just terrifying. This is happening. Explain what is happening. Explain what Wes Streeting, the Health Secretary's justification, and indeed the medic's justification for this basically guinea pig experimentation on children is going to be about.
Well, the whole thing is a bit of a travesty, really, Julia. You know, we were told there was a puberty blocker ban. Society was celebrating. We thought this is the end of the matter. And then we discover actually there's this clinical trial in the works. And I obtained some undercover footage of Health Secretary Wes Streeting from a couple of months ago speaking at an LGBT event. And he said that even banning the puberty blockers in the first place made him, quote unquote, very uncomfortable. So that tells you the measure of the man that we're working with here. But this trial has been going on, all the research and the planning for it in secret. Myself and my legal team have been trying to obtain some disclosure, some transparency. It's been essentially a conspiracy of silence. And then it emerges last weekend that actually the approval has already come through and they're about to commence recruiting hundreds of children, as you said, as young as 10 years old.
And who has to approve this? Does it have to be approved by the Health Secretary? Could he stop it if he wanted?
Well, it had to go through various bodies. I mean, it's quite a complicated setup. It's been run by King's College London. The Health Regulatory Agency are part of this, as is the Medicines and Healthcare Regulatory Agency. So there's a few bodies. This did have to go through an ethical approval process.
Really? And they passed?
Well, supposedly. Now, again, there's a complete lack of transparency as to exactly what that process followed. But, you know, we were not surprised. We had a feeling that this was going to be rolled out one way or the other. But it's the speed now at which it's happening.
Yeah. But hold on a minute. We were told the Cass review, she was very, very clear that there was no proper testing. The only children who should ever get puberty blockers was part of a medical trial, because there'd been no follow-up of the thousands of children who've had puberty blockers over the years. But we know about a lot of the downsides of them, the impact on brain development, the bone density, but also, I mean, just stopping children going through a normal part of growing up is clearly wrong on normal, healthy bodies. But am I not right in thinking that Hilary Cass, who wrote that review, she said there should be a trial, that she's welcome that there's a trial? She did.
And that was one of the biggest disappointments that came out of this report.
Because we don't really need a trial, because we have had thousands of children already experimented on.
Correct. Well, the Tavistock actually did their own trial back in 2011, and it, you know, we've never seen any study that has shown there's any benefit to come from puberty blockers, only harm. The government themselves, when they banned the puberty blockers last year, said that there was an unacceptable safety risk. Right. And the fact is, we could be doing studies on animals, and whatever your thoughts are on animal testing, but you should be doing that as a precursor to using children as literal guinea pigs.
But also, I mean, I don't understand how they're saying children as young as 10. They're not going to exclude, you know, children who, I mean, again, a large number of kids who've gone through this, of children who are, you know, autistic, children who are in care, children with other mental health problems, such as depression, eating disorders. Huge number of the children who've gone through were actually children who were just gay, particularly girls. They're just gay. There's nothing wrong with them. They're just gay. And yet they're going to put these children to bed. How can a child, particularly a child as young as 10, how can a child consent to have a medical treatment that they don't need? It's not like they've got cancer and mum's signing them going, we'll try anything experimental to save my child's life. These are children who are perfectly healthy, but they're going to be given a drug that will damage their bodies and their brains and their development, possibly lead them onto a road that would make them infertile. How could they possibly consent to that?
No, they don't have the capacity to consent. I mean, this is the problem. And it's a mental illness here that's driving their obsession and their desperation. And yet we're now giving them essentially a loophole around the ban to say, come one, come all, you can receive the blockers that you so desire. I work with children every single week as part of my clinical practice. And these children, the reasons they give me for wanting puberty blockers, the young boy is saying, I don't like the fact that boys have body hair. I mean, that is the type of kind of regressive, stereotypical thinking that's been hammered into these children now. So that, well, if you don't like body hair, well, then maybe it's better off that you're a girl. Why do you, if you thought about puberty blockers?
Well, no, but that's literally what is happening. I mean, it's terrible. It's an ideology. But I mean, you want to work on a legal challenge. I know your people at Sex Matters want to do that as well. Many other organisations. And you've been working with Kira Bell, who is a detransitioner who won that famous court case, saying, you're far too young. You couldn't possibly expect me to have, to have been able to consent to the treatment I've got, which has damaged my body and my life forever. What chances have you? I mean, and how quickly can you do it before another single child in this country is given these drugs?
Well, we've been working on this for a number of months. We've got a strong legal team. We are fully funded. And that means that if this needs to go all the way to the Supreme Court, we will be taking it to the Supreme Court. We're currently working on our pre-action letters, etc. We're trying to see if we're going to get an injunction to try and stop the recruitment of these children in the first place. We're going to throw absolutely everything we possibly can on this. We do not want a single child to ingest this poison.
Absolutely. That said, I think people need to be contacting their MPs. I think people need to be writing to Downing Street. They need to write to the Department of Health, contact Wes Streeting, do it on social media and make it clear that this is not what should be happening. You've been such a great advocate on this voice for children. If only the medical professionals would do that themselves. James Esses, psychotherapist and founder of Just Therapy. Huge thanks